Welcome to Hot Rod Hype, where we have no idea what we're doing, but we are going to try our hardest to make it look like we do. Today we are going to be pulling a Hurt 383 out of my shop truck and putting in a 350 that I have laying around here and see if we can get it back on the road. I used to use this truck for a lot of things, so it'll be nice to have this thing back up and running. If you guys have any comments or suggestions on how I can make these videos better in the future, please leave them in the comments. Yeah, alright, so let's you want to start undoing these header bolts, and then I'll start draining this coolant out. Yeah, that seems like the right thing to do. Really get like a big pan for out here, honestly. I need to do that.
Pan or Pam?
Pan. Pan.
I hope you settle this pan dilemma.
Well, the 383 is out. This was built about 8 years ago. It's a 11-to-1 compression. It's got custom ground Lunati cam in it. Some cheap Chinese aluminum heads. It's a pretty healthy motor for what it is, honestly. I'd like to tear it down, put a good top end on it. But it's been in 2 pulling trucks that I know of. It's been in this truck at least 2 times, if not 3. Every time someone would ask me if I had a small block for sale, this thing always had a small block in it, and they always ran good. And I'd always end up selling the motor right out of the truck. So we put 383 back in it every time. Last 350 that was in it, I dailied it for a while. Well over, it was probably about 10, 12 months at least. Then I started becoming a misfire issue on that stock 350. And it had a sniper kit on it. It was fuel injected. It got pretty good fuel mileage, honestly. Then ran a compression test that blew a head gasket in between cylinders. Was never getting oil in the coolant. No coolant in the oil. Just random misfire, anything over about half throttle. So I pulled it out over Christmas break. Put that in and ran it for all last year. I mean, it's a blast. This truck's a blast in general. For it being 3/4 ton, 4-speed, I mean, anything you put in there just feels fun. I do use this truck to haul trailer, haul firewood. I mean, this thing is used and abused. It don't owe me a penny. But she gets some love here and there. I put new rockers in it, cab corners. I think it was about 2 years ago now. The bed's got rust. I mean, it's not a perfect truck by any means. It's got a hole in the tailgate. I don't even know how, but It's there. This side of the bed's got rust too. The bed floor definitely needs some attention, which that's something I plan on doing this spring. But this cab corner and rocker was done. Floor. The roof, the drip rail up there is real bad. I have another cab out back. I plan on cutting the roof off. I haven't decided how I'm going to do it yet, but and replacing it, fixing it. But yeah, there's a big old hole. I mean, you can stick your finger in there. That's why I've never changed this windshield out either. Scared of what's behind it, but gonna have to face it here soon. Alright, so we ran into a little bit of issue. Didn't want to go down all the way on the passenger side. Starter was hitting the bell housing. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this mini starter on. It stops flat with the block. As you can see, the stock starter has the cone, comes out around. This was hitting the bell housing, not letting the left side of the motor sink down all the way. So got that taken care of. Had to go get a new flywheel. So one I had was too small of a bore for the crank. So now it's just time to hook everything up and finally got some more time to work on this thing, and I figured I'd show you guys a little tip. Now, not everybody might not have a timing light, or some people don't really understand how to use it. I loosened this distributor and moved it out of the way because I lifted it with a chain. I didn't want to take the chance of the chain hitting the vacuum port and breaking it or damaging it at all. So what I do is I pop the vacuum hose off of the distributor, and then I just put a white mark or a piece of tape, whatever, to where this vacuum port was pointing. You just put it right back to where it's pointing right at it. If the engine was running great before you pulled it out of the other vehicle or whatever, and the timing was good in it, that's a good way to get you back pretty close to where you're at. I got some couple short things I gotta finish up here. Fuel lines, the clutch ball for the side of the motor, and I put the carburetor back on it, and this thing's pretty much ready to fire. I'm hoping all the wiring I got sorted out again from going Holly Sniper back to carbureted. I think I got all the wires pulled out of where they need to be, so. Well, I think got everything buttoned up, got the plug wires on it, plugs are in it. Clutch linkage just hooked back up. So I think it's time to prime this carb and see if it'll at least fire off. Fingers crossed. Oof. Don't do that again. spark, so that's nice. I found a wire that powers the distributor. I had it unplugged from the fuse block, so I'm hoping that was our issue. So go ahead on take 2 on firing this thing up. Stop it. Two things. That was way too easy, so I better get out of the shop before it catches on fire or something. Second thing, I forgot how loud this thing was in here. So we are going to back it outside for sure. Wow. Got good oil pressure. And hook any of the other gauges back up yet. I'd like to, oof. Old 4-speed. Every time it goes in reverse. Oh yeah, I forgot no brakes. That's great. There we go. I get this fitting. I stole it for that truck in there. So I honestly didn't think this would be running before that one would, but here we are. I need to lengthen these alternator wires. They're pretty tight. I don't like how they ran, but I didn't run a power steering pump on the last engine, so I was able to tuck it up real nice and clean against the block, but definitely gonna have to do something about that. That's way too short. I just have it zip tied off to one of the power steering return lines, so should stay out of the way for a test drive at least. Well, I guess we ain't test driving until I get that anyways, so see how this thing warms up and see if it'll idle down on its own, or see if I have to adjust it a little bit. Well, we're gonna take this thing for a test drive. I know the old shop dog's been wanting to go for a ride. He's been sitting out here. Every time I open the door, he hops in here, so. Come on, go for a ride, Malou. Come on, go for a ride. Okay. Scoot over. Oh, sit. Good boy. See how much crap gets kicked up into my eyes. Close these vents. There we go. I don't know how bad this audio is going to be inside this cab. I know this window rattles pretty good. It's not nearly as loud as when the 383 was in here. You couldn't even have a conversation in here. So I'm hoping it ain't too bad. work, so that's plus. This thing idles really quiet. Still gotta get power steering lines made, or bought, I guess. I was hoping to use the square body lines, but the fittings going to the gearbox are not the same, so. One thing that has drove me nuts about this truck is this clutch pedal. Every time you use it, it hangs down where it's supposed to be. You hit the first bump, it smacks up. I don't know if you guys hear that, but. So, that's annoying. I need to get the rubber stop for it. I bring my dang leg all the way up to get on the clutch pedal again. So. The only way I could think of ending this video off with is a burnout in the shop. 2 reasons. 1, smoothest concrete I can find. 2, I'm not gonna have to push it back in here when this thing breaks. One may ask why a guy's laying on the floor, and I'll tell you why. Just what I told you. Broken drive shaft. Plus side, we only have to push it back in the shop. But there's some carnage. Piece of drive shaft. 3/4 of a U-joint. The other quarter still in the rear end. Broken ear off the drive shaft. So in episode 2, probably gonna have to address that. So Stay tuned, and thanks for watching.